Tonight we're going to have a very interesting conversation about the AI race and the future of innovation. And I'm lucky tonight because I have some amazing speakers on the panel. So let me introduce you to Mademoiselle Charlotte Foucteau, who is the CEO of Teleperformance Greece. We have Mr. Alvin Graylin, who is a well-known author, as well as the chairman at the Virtual World Society. And of course, we have Mr. Max Nikias, who is President Emeritus and also a professor at the California Southern University.
Thank you.
Mr. Graylin has a very, very good perspective of Asia and US, which is a quite unique combination, right? So you've seen this AI arm race from the beginning, and I wanted to ask you, how do you think that this race is shaping not just national competitiveness, but also the global stability right now?
Yeah, and as you said, I've actually spent about half my career in China, half in the US, and I actually started in semiconductors with Intel and IBM, and I've been working on AI for 30 plus years. But I think there's actually a very dangerous situation we are in right now. In particular, even to call this an AI race is positioning the world to go into a path where we are making an increasingly dangerous world. Of all the technologies that we have created over the last thousands of years, this may be one that has a different type of a trajectory than other technologies. In the past, almost all technology we created had been tools that gives an advantage to one group over another and allows you to create some dominance over somebody else. We are potentially creating a technology that advances all areas of our lives and can take us from a world of scarcity to potentially a world of abundance. But we are now turning it into a weapon against each other and making it, whether it's a race between companies or a race between countries. And in some cases, specifically weaponizing this technology to give advantage of countries to maintain a dominance or to create dominance over other people. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do, because this technology at some point may become intelligent enough and capable enough to have its own autonomy. And whether as an autonomous weapon to take humans out of the chain, or ability for it to take over work so that it replaces a large number of humans, or having the ability to create other types of threats like cyber weapons, new viruses, new chemical weapons, things that can attack our energy grid. I think there's a lot of other dangers that are going to potentially be coming to our world if this technology gets into the wrong hands. And I agree that the danger is not China or the US. The bigger danger is actually advanced AI getting into the hands of rogue actors, of terrorist groups, of people with special agendas, because this magnifies the capabilities of those individuals or groups significantly beyond what's possible today. Right? Usually, rogue groups are a small group of people somewhere with limited resources, and they can do limited damage. Unfortunately, with this, a single person or a small group can have the capability of an army of Einsteins in their backyard or in their basement. And that can create different types of asymmetric risk to the world. And this actually is a reason why nations should actually work together versus against each other. Because the only way to defend against the asymmetric risk of a rogue actor is actually to have clear communication between the intelligence groups of the various state actors. Right? State actors are actually less likely to use this technology advantage versus each other because just like in the mutual assured destruction doctrine, there is somebody to retaliate against. So they know that even if I've used this to maybe take down somebody's power grid or to attack their system, somebody will find out and somebody will attack me back. But a rogue actor does not have that fear because they don't care if they die as long as they achieve their goals. So I think we're living in a world that the equations that used to work in the past are changing. And one of the other risks that we haven't talked about is actually job displacement risk and the instability in society that will come. And that is not a thing that we want to race to. And right now, when everybody is trying to get first to advanced AI or AGI, they are forgetting about the societal ramifications of the dislocation of jobs, the instability that will be created when 10, 20, 30, 50% of the labor force becomes displaced. And very few countries are actually taking this into account and preparing the social safety nets and the financial safety nets and the reskilling systems and the UBI platforms to enable a smooth transition when this happens. And it will happen because AI is advancing at such a pace that pretty much all the labs in the world are agreeing that within the next 5 years or so, we will get to AGI. And what that means is pretty much when you get AGI, every single white-collar job in the world is at risk.
Sure.
Right? And when you put AGI and you tie it to some kind of a robotic system over then probably in the next 5 to 10 years, then almost all manual labor will be at risk. Right? So we need to be thinking about how do we put in systems to prevent an economic meltdown and a societal meltdown when these things happen. And very few people are talking and preparing for that eventual future.
Taking in mind exactly that, but also the pace of the advancement, how important is it to establish soon global standards around AI, and what mechanisms you think that could work, especially in a world that is so different and like so many values at the same time?
Yes, so this is exactly the reason we need to be creating a CERN for AI type program versus national sovereign programs. Right now, the fad is to say every country needs to have their own AI based on their own data, based on their own values, and you essentially create 193 versions of this AI, all duplicating efforts and taking the limited resources we have in chips to try to build the same thing. And what we're finding is almost all models are converging to the same point. They're all within 2, 3, 4% of capabilities of each other. So creating 193 versions of this is not the most efficient use of our limited resources. The other dangerous thing is when you create independent versions that are based on your culture, your language, your religion, what that is saying is that I am the good guy, and every one of those, the other 192 are all bad guys. And I need to win, they need to lose, because we live in a zero-sum game, right? Zero-sum world. This is what we are training AI systems today when we create sovereign AI. When we put the data of all the world nations together, all the religions, all of the peoples, all the languages, we then create an AI that takes into everybody's perspective into account. And that's what we need, is when that happens, then the AI will say, how can I create a universal utility function that benefits everyone instead of a single small subset, which is what the current system and the current model is doing. And it's a very dangerous thing, the path that we are on, because not only are we creating less intelligent systems because they have incomplete data sets, we are innately biasing them against each other. And what happens is that we will, the collateral damage of this is that human race will suffer, right? One group may have a temporary lead, but there is no winning. There is no winning this race. I think this is the key that most people don't realize. And this is the myth of somebody winning is why people are having this race. But when people realize, or when hopefully the leaders in the world realizes that there is no winning, and the only way to win is not to play. This is kind of the War Games movie from the 1980s, and I think there was a lot of truth in what they're saying. And particularly when we are so close to potentially getting a technology that can solve the problems that have been plaguing our society for thousands of years, whether it's energy or health or climate or education and food. All of these things can be, we are within 5 years of solving all of these problems if we work together.
Yeah, please.
If I may add what Alvin so eloquently explained, it's AI ethics is going to be a very, very important topic. It is now and in the future. And the private sector corporations, especially the large ones, have taken that very seriously. At least they appear so. And they have created also, they try to create the environment and the culture that of responsible AI. That's the expression they use.
Well, I think a lot of, like you say, they appear right. So. I think that that's right. the illusion is that there is the appearance that they're prioritizing ethics and truth right. and responsibility. But when at the same time, when companies Anthropic, who is supposed to be the poster boy of safety, is also working with the Defense Department to create weapons, how can you say that you are ethical and trying to do good for the world when you're using the same technology to create defense technology? And how can you say this when publicly the CEO of Anthropic is saying, US must win against China, and we are now working with the Defense Department to help US win, and China can never be in the lead, and we need to do all of these things to cut the legs off of other countries. I think that's a very dangerous game to play, even though I know you say that China's behind on the semiconductor side, but they already have achieved 7-nanometer production in fairly good quantity. They just announced that they now have EUV machines that will soon allow them to get to 5 or 3 nanometer technology. So they're probably 2 to 3 years behind Taiwan. And Taiwan officially, according to most of the world's records, is actually a part of China, and it's only 100 miles from China, whereas it is 5,000 miles away from the US. So if there was a conflict, the probability of US winning versus China on that particular front is very small. Right. So we really need to be very careful about creating these kind of geopolitical conflicts around a technology when cooperating is actually the only solution that does everybody good, instead of trying to win something that cannot be won.
Thank you very much, everyone. This is a really interesting conversation, and I know there are different views in this matter. I think that we do need to stop here because I think the PM is about to go on stage right now. The Prime Minister, sorry, the sword, it's what we usually use. So thank you very much, everyone.